You know what nobody warns you about? Some people will sing happy birthday to you, smile in every photo, toast to your future, and still pray, quietly, secretly, that your life never rises higher than theirs. They'll like your posts, laugh at your jokes, text you back with enthusiasm. But the moment your life actually starts moving forward, watch their energy. Watch the temperature in the room drop by 10 degrees. Because jealousy doesn't look the way it used to. It's not loud anymore. It doesn't roll its eyes. It doesn't scream. Modern jealousy is far more dangerous. It hides behind encouragement, behind curiosity, behind fake support. And most people never notice it. Not until years later, when they suddenly realize the people they trusted the most were quietly rooting for their failure. Here's the brutal truth about human psychology. Success exposes relationships. Because when someone near you begins to rise, it triggers something ancient in the brain, an evolutionary alarm. Your progress becomes a mirror, and mirrors are uncomfortable. They show people what they are and what they could have been. So instead of improving themselves, some people do something darker. They start quietly controlling the narrative around you. Not openly, subtly, strategically. And once you understand the patterns, you'll never see your social circle the same way again. Let's start with the first sign, and it's the one almost everyone misses. They celebrate your potential, but go silent on your progress. Pay attention to when people actually show up for you. Because jealous people love your dreams. They adore your ideas. They'll hype you up all day when your plans are still floating safely in the air. You should totally start that business. You'd be amazing at that. I can see you doing big things. They'll clap, encourage, motivate. Because at that stage, your ambition is harmless. It's hypothetical. It doesn't threaten anything. Potential is like a movie trailer. Exciting, but still imaginary. Now watch what happens the moment the movie actually starts. The moment you take the first real step. You launch the business. You start the transformation. You post the first result. Suddenly the energy shifts. The hype disappears. The encouragement fades. Silence. Because progress is different from potential. Progress is dangerous. Progress means this might actually work. And when your success becomes real, it forces people to confront a brutal psychological truth. They could have been moving forward too, but they didn't. So instead of celebrating your growth, their brain protects their ego. Distance, silence, withdrawal. Think of it like someone cheering you on to audition for a competition. They're loud during practice. They hype your talent. But the moment you make it to the next round, they disappear. No congratulations, no excitement, just quiet. Because the dream becoming real suddenly threatens the identity they had built around you, the comfortable version, the version where you both stayed the same. Real friends celebrate every stage, the idea, the risk, the execution. But jealous people only support the planning phase because they want you to dream forever, just never do. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Who disappeared the moment your life started moving forward? Because silence can sometimes be louder than hate. Now, the second sign gets darker. Much darker. They ask for details, then use them against you later. At first, it feels harmless. Someone seems interested in your life. They ask specific questions. How much are you making at your new job? Where exactly are you moving? How did you afford that car? How serious is that relationship? It feels like curiosity, like friendship, like support. So you answer honestly. You open up, you share. But weeks later, you hear something strange. People repeating things about you, private details, information you only told one person. Suddenly, your salary becomes gossip. Your relationship becomes speculation. Your success becomes something twisted into arrogance. And you realize something unsettling. They weren't asking because they cared. They were collecting ammunition. Jealous people gather information like weapons. Every detail about your life becomes leverage. Every vulnerability becomes a future talking point. Every success becomes something to undermine later. Think of it like someone borrowing your phone to make a call, then secretly scrolling through your messages. They didn't need the phone, they needed the data. Real friends ask questions because they care about your well-being, and they protect what you tell them like it's sacred. Jealous people interview you like detectives building a case, and when they feel threatened, they start presenting the evidence. So here's the paradox. Transparency builds connection with the right people, but with the wrong ones, it becomes a weapon. And the question becomes uncomfortable. Who in your life asks the most questions but reveals the least about themselves? Now, the third sign reveals something deeper about status and social power. They compliment you in private, but never in public. This pattern is one of the most revealing psychological tells you'll ever see. When you're alone, they're your biggest fan. You're talented. You're going to be successful. You're amazing at this. The praise flows freely. But put them in a room with other people, and suddenly that admiration disappears. Someone praises you publicly. The jealous person goes silent. Someone asks about your achievements. They change the subject. Someone mentions your success. They pretend not to hear. Why? Because praise in private costs nothing, but praise in public creates something dangerous: reputation, influence, opportunity. And jealous people are obsessed with status economics. In their mind, social respect is a limited resource. If your value rises in the room, theirs might fall. So they keep your greatness hidden like a classified document, locked away where it can't benefit you. Real friends brag about you when you're not even there. They interrupt conversations to say, "You should see what my friend just accomplished." They introduce you with pride. They amplify your wins. Jealous people do the opposite. They acknowledge your value only in private, where it changes nothing. And the question you have to ask is brutal. If someone believes in you, why are they afraid to let the world know? Now, the fourth sign reveals something even darker about the human mind, but it's also the one that exposes jealousy with surgical precision, because some people do something strange, something almost unsettling. They remember your failures with perfect clarity. Exact dates, exact moments, exact details, like historians documenting a war. And the reason behind it will completely change the way you see certain people. But to understand that, we have to step deeper into the psychology of envy. Because jealousy doesn't just track your success, it studies your pain. And in part 2, we're going to expose the final 2 behaviors that reveal when someone secretly needs you to stay small, including the body language signal the human brain cannot fake, the signal that appears the moment you become the center of attention. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. Because the most dangerous enemy in your life is the one smiling while hoping you never rise.